Welcome to Turn Up the Heat. This is where we talk to our guests about how they're turning up the heat. Turn Up the Heat is all about how can you do a little bit more? How can you set your bar a little bit higher? How can you maybe get out of that comfort zone a little bit more? We also talk to our guests about their mental demons because we all have them. We know that. And so we like to pick their brains and see how they are conquering the mental beast, the mental demons. And so today I am here at CrossFit Amoskeag in Bedford, New Hampshire. And there's also a location in Concord, New Hampshire. Recently opened, like a month ago or so. A couple months. A year ago. Okay, what do I know? So I'm a little bit new to the CrossFit world, but we'll talk about that in a moment. But I'm here with Danielle Oliveri. We also call her Dani. And we're here to celebrate her as well. She's had quite the ride in her CrossFit sports career so far, and she's making some waves. So you're going to want to hear some great advice from her, whether you're a CrossFitter or not, or whether you're thinking about it or not, or you just want to have some inspiration. So a little bit about Dani's background is that she recently went to the Granite Games, which is the semifinals games, right, for CrossFit. Yep. And she did really well. She's going to talk about that experience. She is also a physical therapist assistant, recently got her degree after she decided to go back to college. So yay for that.
So happy.
Got to celebrate those. Well, that's not a small success. That's a big success. But she's also certified by the prestigious NASM, National Academy of Sports Medicine. She is a certified CrossFit coach, which I will tell you, I got the wonderful experience of only having you coach one of my classes. I started here in Bedford only about a couple of months ago at CrossFit Amoskeag, and she's not typically the morning coach, the classes that I go to, but you came to one of the classes and I could feel your passion. Like, you win the care game, and it shows. Like, some people have to wake up in the morning and get themselves pumped up, but you showed up that morning and I could feel the love. And that's really important to me, not just because it's that early in the morning, but me starting CrossFit was a very humbling experience. I'm an ectomorph, and the reason I started was to try to get more power and more strength for the sport that I love, which is obstacle course racing. But that day, I remember you were able to lift me up and elevate me, and at the same time correct me, and I just could like feel your fervor for the sport, and you really care. So
My
just
heart.
want to mention that. And then she's also WAG certified, which is not training dogs.
It's not training dogs.
WAG again.
Working against gravity.
Awesome. So, and one little fun fact about Dani is she prefers to walk on her hands
I do.
than
I
on
do.
her feet, and I'm not surprised at
I
all.
do.
So let's talk about CrossFit for a second. I know that there's a lot of people here. As soon as you hear CrossFit, you can hear the cross. No wonder why people are afraid, right? You hear those weights dropping. But some people are a little bit intimidated, and I was too, so I understand it. But CrossFit isn't what a lot of people think it is. A lot of times I'll hear people say, oh, I've wanted to try, I'm curious, but I don't want to get hurt. Or am I too old? Or am I not fit enough? Let me tell you, I've seen all shapes and sizes, all different fitness levels, and all different ages at these boxes. We call them boxes, not gyms. And it's really impressive of what you can do because they meet you where you're at, and the coaches do a phenomenal job. So CrossFit is actually a branded fitness regime involving functional movements. And this includes high intensity interval training, which you all have heard of, I'm sure, Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting, plyometrics, gymnastics, calisthenics, kettlebells. Am I missing anything?
All the things.
And the workouts are like snowflakes. No 2 hour leg. I'll tell you. I promise you that. So if you get bored easy, join CrossFit. So listen, my first burning question is, what was the catalyst that propelled you to start CrossFit?
So before CrossFit, I was an elite power lifter. And I love, like lifting the heavy. It was so much fun, but there is nothing wrong with it. I loved it, but it was just getting to the point where I just kept getting hurt. And I was just getting bored because I have ADHD. I like to go. So having to do a lift and then wait like 5 minutes in between sets, I was just getting bored. So it's actually funny. I was thinking about doing CrossFit for a while, but my next door neighbor, who is a member here, her name is Jen. every time I would come home, I would literally get out of my car, like, please don't ask me. And she would always come out and say, hey, you should totally try it. You should come, you should take a class. And after months of her saying it, I'm like, all right, fine. Like, I'll try it, which I knew I wanted to, but you know, I was just like everyone else. When you hear the word CrossFit, you're like, oh, you know, like that might be a little too intense for me. But I showed up, I did my first class, and like that, I was like, all right, I love it. I am hooked. When can I come back next? And I was just all for it. And I kind of just went all in then.
Okay, wow. All right, so Jen, I'm not sure which Jen, because I've met a few Jen, so you know, hands off, obviously, because the girl's doing awesome. So kudos to you for that. But all right, so like it's been 4 years?
4 years.
Okay, so walk me through a little bit, like high level. What has that journey the last 4 years been like? When did you, like, were you intimidated at all at first? Was it humbling to you? I mean, you were already powerlifting, but I guess when did you start to take it more serious?
So it was never too intimidating for me, just because as you know, when you come into this gym, everyone here treats you the same. So whether like you're brand new or you've been doing this forever, everyone treated me the exact same. And I like to think I'm a very social girl. So, you know, having everyone being so nice and open with me made it so much easier for me to be open and happy back.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say I was too much intimidated just because of the people here. But the first couple of years here, I was definitely not competitive. You know, yes, I loved it here, but I was still kind of going from that power lifter to the CrossFitter side. And I was just kind of getting the feel for it. I was kind of in that mindset of, you know, I just want to work out just to work out. Like I like how I feel when it's done. And I want to say, like, my first couple of months, I had surgery done on my hand to have a partial carpal tunnel release done. So I couldn't really use the hand for a couple of months, but for like, I want to say the first 2 to 3 years, I was kind of just doing classes. I was like, just, you know, coming in, having fun, enjoying it. And it wasn't until last year, 2021 quarterfinals, when it got done, you know, I don't want to say I gave it 100%, but I didn't sandbag and either. I kind of did the workouts as like, let's just see. And like, for me, not training to that level, I finished 169. So I was only a handful-ish spots off from actually making it to semi. So from that point, I was like, wow, you know, like if I just put a little bit more in, if I just dial in my nutrition more, my training more, like I wonder what the next year could bring. So the last year, I really kind of like stepped my training up, which was a little hard because I was in school still. So like, in order for me to get more training in and to really dial it in and working with my coach, I was showing up at the gym at 4 a.m.
Wow.
just so I could get all my training in. And then, you know, this last year, I've noticed a ton of gains. And then when this year's quarterfinals came, I ended up placing 92nd. So like we were talking about earlier, I was in a chunk. So I want to say like the last year was when I finally was like, I can be competitive.
Right.
If I just put a little bit more in.
Wow. So she just turns up the heat a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Yep. Just
That
a little bit
made-
more, and then boom.
That made a difference. And you know
Yeah.
what? I didn't mention it earlier. And, you know, if you heard this before, it doesn't, repetition is the mother of retention, but turn up the heat is where I really got the name from. Not because I love hot sauce, kind of maybe influenced the name a little bit, but there's a video called, have you ever seen 212 Degrees?
Yes.
Video? Yeah, exactly that. Is that, you know, at 211 degrees, water is warm. At 212 degrees, water boils, and that can move a locomotive. And when you look at the Olympics or any kind of sport, the folks that are placing first versus second, or going from quarterfinals to semifinals and qualifying, it's only it's a morsel of a placing,
Yeah.
more of a time, right? So that turn up the heat will give you exponential results, right?
Yeah.
It's just another example of it. So in it, and I know, and I'm just learning this, but you go from starting with thousands of competitors around the world to nationally thousands that gets you to the semifinal. So she's making some serious waves right now, and she's just beginning. We know that. So tell us about going to like the training for the Granite Games. What was going through your mind? How did you really step it up? Like really step it up, and then we'll get into some more questions about when you actually walked foot into the Granite Games.
So the last year, so I, before I started to really take the competitive approach with it, I used to overtrain. I used to overtrain a ton. I used to do so many different pieces. I used to always feel beat up. And then I reached out to who my coach is now, Dad Bod Chronicles, Mickey Kilmartin. Awesome guy. But
And where are they?
so he is in Merrimack, but he's not a part of a gym. He kind of just like does it.
Yep.
He is a remote coach.
Okay.
But when I reached out to him, he's one of the very few that I really trust. So I asked for his help, and he dialed my training down a lot, and we went to more specifics.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I noticed the change. But so once I made the cut for semis, training for semis, we had to increase my training more, which during it, it's, you just have to stay as positive as you can, and just put that work in. But of course, as the time was getting closer to me leaving, the constant, like, and he even knows it too. I called him a couple times. I was crying. I was a mess because I'm like, am I doing enough?
Right.
Like, do I belong there? And that was the biggest thing, especially the last 2 to 3 weeks leading up to it. That literally went through my head all the time. Do I belong there?
What was it that made you doubt yourself? The mental demons. Like, what made you think that for even a second?
I think it's just because I train by myself,
Oh.
so I have no one to compare off of. So just training off of me, you can't help but like think of like, well, what if they throw this? What if they throw that? What if I'm not ready for this?
Right.
What if I'm not ready for that? What if I don't belong there?
Right.
And I reached out to other semifinal girls just to kind of like see like, hey, like how do you feel? And it's crazy, but when you get to that higher level, a lot of girls feel the same way of, do I belong there? And there's so much that you can do, but instead of feeding into it, just keep telling yourself that like you made it there for a reason. Like, you made it in that top spot. Like, don't doubt that you don't belong there. You belong there. Keep putting the work in and leading up to it. Like, that's what I just had to keep telling myself, but I kept thinking like, do I belong there? I had to keep on saying, yes, you belong there. You earned your spot there.
So that was what happened. You would have the thought and you immediately would
Shut it down.
intercept it with those words. Exactly. Yeah. Were there any other quote mantras or advice from coaches that you would use as tools to get you through?
No, well, so the only other thing that I would ever think of that I actually learned, you probably know him,
Yeah, from here.
Yeah,
I
at
love Warren.
7 or 5 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah, 5 a.m.
So Warren used to, before I got to this, he used to give me lessons on how to be tough here. So, I like to pull a lot of things that he taught me, but one of the biggest things was he's like, just, take it one piece at a time. Don't look at like what the end is, one piece at a time. So, when I started to feel those, and when I would shut them down, I would just keep on focusing on like, all right, just focus on this. All right, now focus on this. And focus on that. So that helped me a ton too.
And did it ever cross your mind too that this was going to be an experience and it's not going to be your last time, that you would go, you're putting your best effort, and whatever you learn, or were you more like, you going into it, I want to go in and I want to do really well? Like, what was
I definitely went into this this year or this semis as I just want to learn as much as I can. With it being my first time ever being on the individual floor,
Yeah.
I had no clue what to feel, what to expect. So I just really tried to take it all in and just learn. Of course, before it, I was like, like this might be the only time that I make it here, and that's fine. But once it was done, I was like, I'm doing whatever I can to make it back there.
Okay, awesome. So switching gears a little bit. So what else do you do, like recovery wise, nutritionally, to prepare leading up to it?
So leading up to it, I definitely had to increase my macros, definitely had to up those carbs up, just because even though, so I was training more, but the stress leading up to it, I know was making me burn even more then.
Yeah.
So I definitely had to eat more, because like it, by that point, or even during it all, it really shouldn't matter what you look like. It's all about how you feel.
Right.
If I was waking up and if I was feeling tired, or if my stomach hurt, like I knew that I didn't eat as much, or I didn't eat enough the day before.
Oh, okay.
So I knew like that day leading in, I needed to, and I really needed to focus on like eating around my training. Okay. That was the biggest thing.
Oh, okay, like right before, like what you're eating right before and what you're eating right after is
and
massive with your results.
And what I eat during it.
And during, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that nutrition, awesome. Is it hard to do? Is it hard to increase your macros?
For me, no, because I love food.
Usually I
love food. I'm like more food, great, love it.
Easy, okay.
Give me it.
And what are like one or two go-to meals that you eat on a consistent basis that give you the best energy for your workouts?
So my favorite thing to eat when I wake up is I love Kodiak pancakes.
Okay, yeah, I've seen those.
So I make those. And then when I'm done working out, I love to have a banana, a fuel for fire, and a shake. Like those are like I look forward to those two things.
Fuel for fire, what is that?
It's like a applesauce, but it has 10 grams of protein in it, and it has anywhere from like 14 to 20 grams of carbs.
Okay.
And like no fat. But it's so good. Yeah.
Is it in a pouch or something?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like baby food.
Yeah, it really
That's
is.
what makes it so fun.
It really is. I love them.
All right, recovery. So you said for a while you dialed back your training.
Yeah.
You were overtraining, and then you started to increase your training again, right?
Right.
So what do you do for recovery as far as like sleep, days off, active rest, any other modalities that you're using to help while you're going for muscle?
So I usually train hard. Train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, fully off. I train Friday, I train Saturday. I treat Sunday as an active recovery day. So I'll either do like really light cardio, or I'll go for mountain bike ride, or I try to do something outdoors and not in the gym, just to kind of switch it up. And what I've been doing recently is we bought an ice bath. So we go in the ice bath a couple nights a week right before bed. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
It is the greatest thing. You go into an ice bath and then you get out, and we make our room freezing cold, sleep in a really, really cold room. You sleep amazing. So like that's been like what my recovery has been. Definitely sleeping in a nice cold room. I really try to get at least 8 hours of sleep. Okay. But I find that if I do more than 8, like if I do 9, then I'm a mess. It's like too much. Like
it backfires.
Yeah, like my body has that super sweet spot of like just 8.
Yep.
You know?
Absolutely.
But as for recovery wise, I don't really stretch or mobilize as much as I should. And I think it's just because before I train, I warm up really, really, really well. So I really get myself nice and loose there. So my body's been feeling great. So I just listen to it. I don't necessarily roll things and stretch things if it's not causing me any discomfort.
Well, it seems to be working for you, but I love the thoughts about getting enough rest, because in this day and age, when we're trying to balance everything and wear all these hats, which I know you do, it's hard for us. We just want to do the stuff that we feel that, getting in a good workout,
Right.
all the hard stuff, and it's
need
hard for us to
sleep.
dial back.
You
need sleep.
need
And
sleep.
you need rest days. But I love also, because I've been really thinking about, I don't know why I have it's not cryotherapy. So the ice bath, anytime I've taken an ice bath, I'm like, at first it's like,
It sucks.
but then you get numb and I feel amazing after.
Oh my
and I
gosh.
recover
It's seriously,
faster.
it's
So.
like
Yeah, awesome.
the greatest thing. And then you sleep with a weighted blanket.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
amazing.
Awesome. Everybody try those ice baths if you're training. I don't want to hear you complaining about your sore. You need to take your ice bath and get your rest. Okay. Well, let's kind of fast forward here. So Granite Games, you walk in, you're now in this huge arena. She's a big fish in this box here. She's one of the top athletes. Like I said, making big waves. She goes there and now there's a whole bunch of people around the whole country or world at Granite Games.
Country.
Or
So
around this
just in
country.
the US.
Okay, so in the US, like the best of the best, cream of the crop, she walks in, and this is one of the reasons, the impetus for me really wanting to bring her on the show is because of a conversation that we had one day. I saw her in a bike training, we got talking, and she started talking to me about the mental demons that came into play when she walked foot into the Granite Games. And I find that so fascinating because I know we all deal with them and imposter syndrome. So I want to talk about that and how you conquer it, what you're going to do different next time so that you don't get psyched out, even though you did really well. I saw everything that you were doing and you were doing phenomenal, but like, what will you do different or better in your eyes in the future?
So definitely going into it or before going into it, like you're one of the fitter ones in the gym. You can't help it but like think like, all right, yeah, like I'm gonna do great. This is awesome. And then you show up there and I like to think I'm a pretty confident girl in my own skin. But the moment I got there and I saw all the other fit girls and how in shape they were and just ripped up and jacked, like it was really hard for me to not get in my head of like, wow, I don't belong here. Like I have too much flab here. I have too much flab here. Like I'm not gonna do great. Like they all look so much fitter than me. And I will say the first like 2 days there that really played a part in my head. And I think it brought my confidence down. And I think it actually hurt my performance, like just being next to him. It was just really hard. And then like as it started to go on, I wish I noticed or I wish I caught on to it sooner, but I was kind of like, you know what, like you looking at how someone else looks compared to you does not define your fitness level and things, like image does not matter in this sport. It's how you perform.
Right.
And if you go out there nervous that you don't belong, and if you feel those negative thoughts, you're gonna do a shitty job there because you have those negative thoughts. So, just like it was really hard to kind of like really look at what I was thinking and reverse it or switch it into a what, it doesn't matter how you look, like you said when you were leading up to it, you belong, whether you look it or not, like you belong there. It doesn't like what you weigh or what someone else way does not matter here. So, trying to so I rebuilt my confidence up, and finally by like the end of day 2, I was like ready. It's 3 days, but I got there 2 days earlier.
Yep.
So like we had check-in on Thursday, and just seeing the girls there, that's when like it started to like hit me and like trigger me that like I'm like, oh my God, but by the end of day 2, and when I started seeing how I was doing, even with like maybe like my somewhat poorish mindset, I was like, I can do this. It doesn't matter what you look like, just keep doing your best.
Right.
That's all you can really do.
Against you. Right?
Yeah. Yep. It's no one else. Like you are there competing for a spot at the CrossFit Games.
Yep.
yes, you're against the girl, but then at the end of the day, it's always going to be you versus you.
Right, absolutely. So in the future, is that the mentality you'll begin with, like day one? Or is there
Yes.
anything else to add to that? Anything else that you're learning to?
No, I am all in, and I'm all about it is you versus you. It doesn't matter what anyone else does. You cannot control what anyone else does or how anyone else looks.
No.
You can control how you act. And, you know, if the body image thing if that was upsetting me that much, you know, I can dial into my nutrition more and fix it so that, you know, like not saying that I need to change.
Right.
I don't need to change by any means. But, you know, if you do dial into your nutrition more, it will improve how you perform. So,
Okay.
you know, but like I'm just going into this season as like I don't care what anyone else does,
Yep.
how anyone else does. All I care about is how I do.
Yep.
And let's try to beat what I did last year.
And everyone is so individual, so
Right.
it's so important to keep that in mind. Anything in life, anything, and you can't compare even, you know, your first competition at the Granite Games to someone else. Someone else might have been there 5 times, 10 times. They have a
Right.
little more experience under their belt. Regardless, so what knobs and levers might you move to propel you in the next games that you go to? See what we got.
So
Like, where do you feel like you need to change, or that you'd like to change? Maybe it's nutritionally, or would you adjust in your
So-
training?
I definitely need to work on my nutrition.
Okay.
That is like one thing for sure. Just my nutrition beforehand, it wasn't bad, but I definitely, you know, it's that 1% that will make that change. So, you know, just making sure that I'm eating more whole foods, and you know, I'm not getting crumble all the time.
Cookie. You gotta hold her accountable.
I gotta cut that back. But so like I'm like this year I'm really trying to focus on my nutrition. And I'm really trying to just focus on my gymnastics capacity, because coming from a powerlifting background, you know, I love the barbell, but I get nervous with high capacity gymnastic skills. So, you know, really trying to hone in on that too.
You got to see her walking handstand. You'll see her in the slideshow. Make sure you stay for the slideshow at the end. We're walking handstand, and maybe I'll make you do them before we're done.
Deal.
So, all right, that's amazing, and we're gonna keep our eye out, watch your journey, because it's just so absolutely exciting. And we're gonna see her in the CrossFit Games, I'm sure, in the future, and I'm gonna be like, I know her. So, all right, let's switch gears a little bit. So, again, going back to how we started this conversation, is people get intimidated by CrossFit. And I'm not saying that everybody should, you know, get off their couch and start CrossFit. At least get off your couch and get moving. That is the whole point here. But what would you say to the naysayers that kind of poo-poo CrossFit and claim that it's a dangerous sport?
So CrossFit you will only get hurt if you don't listen. Like any CrossFit gym that has a great coaching staff, they will lead everyone in the proper way. So, you know, like your first day in, no coach said, hey, you need to do it exactly like this or you are out.
Right.
Every CrossFit coach will make the workout work for you at the level that you are at. The only way you will ever get hurt is if you don't listen to the coach or you don't listen to your own self. Like if your shoulder hurts, you probably shouldn't be picking up on your hands. You should scale that movement down. So when people see like, oh, like you get hurt there, no, you only get hurt when you don't listen.
If you don't listen, or if you don't try to add a whole bunch of weight that you shouldn't be racking in the first place because you're trying to prove something. Those are the two ways I agree that you would get hurt. And just FYI, before you can even start at a CrossFit gym, you have a ramp period where you will go one-on-one with a coach and learn all the moves. And then every coach knows that you're new, and then they will continue to give you some undivided attention during the workouts.
Right.
Hold your hand as much or as little as you want. But like Dani said, like if you can't listen, if you're not coachable, then you're right. Then maybe you should not come to a CrossFit box, right? But I mean, if as long as you're coachable, you can humble yourself a little bit, you're willing to listen, then it's definitely worth a shot. Like I said, I mean, we cover
it really
everything
is.
in CrossFit. You get a full body workout, you work all of your systems, very functional movements that you need in life just to live, to carry groceries, to carry your grandchildren, to keep up with your kids. In here in New England, if you trip on the ice, like you're gonna catch yourself a little bit easier and better and not get hurt because you've been doing functional training. Super important.
Right.
So I want to talk a little bit about balance. So you have a job, you were also in school, you're now engaged, recently engaged to John. Good job, John. You are a lucky man. How do you balance? How does John feel about you spending all this time training? And what are your tips to the viewers for how they can balance life? Because it's a constant battle of trying to have good time management. And I hear the excuse every day, I didn't have time to work out. So how do you handle it?
So with that, when I was in school this last year, like the last thing I wanted to ever do was get up at 3 to go train at 4, right? But that was like, for me, that was the only time that I could fit in my training. And even though it was hard for maybe a couple of weeks, you get into that habit and it just becomes a natural thing. So it always drives me nuts when people say, I don't have time. You have time. You just don't want to make that time to put your health first, right? So, and like, I'm not saying that, anyone has to work out 4 hours, but out of the 24, you should be able to find at least 30 minutes that you can just section off. And it's just like a job where you have to work 9 to 5. That you have to work out from 7 until whatever time.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah, you
And
have
don't
to make
negotiate
it.
with yourself.
Yeah. So that's when I would train, because I knew that at night I'm usually like I'm a morning girl. So
You are a morning girl.
So
you are a morning person.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So I knew that working out at night would not work for me. By nighttime, I'm tired, and maybe I needed to do schoolwork. I needed to coach, spend time with John, and that's when I would do it there. So, but like the biggest thing is just making sure that you section off time that no matter what is your workout time. Your friends are asking you to go out to eat at that time. Sorry guys, I can't. I am busy from this time to this, but I can do it when that is done. If your friends say, oh no, like that doesn't work, well, you can hang out with your friends a different time. But if you lose another day of working out, that's just another day loss of that,
Right. Self-care and boundaries, right? We have to have self-care boundaries, or it's going to be very easy to put the workout aside, and one day leads into a week, and then
it's gone.
And then, it's like pay now or pay later, because eventually it's going to catch up with you, right? If you don't work out.
And then as for John, I'm very lucky to be with someone who is just as obsessive as me. So yes, well that yeah. So John, he cycles. So he rides his bike for hours. And we both have goals. We both know what we love. We both know what makes us happy. So John might go. It might be a Saturday, and John wants to go for a 10-hour ride. Go on, have fun. Me, like I might want to spend my Friday night at the gym. Good, go. Have a great time. But we always, at least twice a week, we always make time for us to hang out still.
See, but you're talking about relationship advice as well. You have to also make your relationship non-negotiable, quality time non-negotiable.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yes. So you need to have both. But I've been very lucky that I think because I'm so supportive of him and everything that he wants, he's very supportive of me and everything that I want. And he also knows that training makes me happy. Like I am so happy when I train, and I'm a better girlfriend or Beyonce now when I get my work done. So, and he knows that. So he has never once said, oh, like you you need to cut your training down because we need to go do this, or you need to spend time here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
He's been super great.
Yeah. Oh,
with
that's
it.
awesome that he respects that. And as they say, happy wife, happy life. You're not
Yeah.
married yet, but you know, you get the gist. All right. This has been super informative for me. I love hearing all about this. And we're going to have a call to action in a second. Is there anything else that you want to share with the viewers? Maybe it's a favorite mantra, a favorite quote or advice to someone that's thinking about starting CrossFit, or just someone that's thinking about getting moving and they haven't moved in a while.
My biggest thing that I have to say is you just need to take that first step, and you need to take everything that you do and every day just by taking one step at a time. It's so easy for us to look at this huge goal and think like, oh, like I'm never gonna get there. It's gonna take so long. But you just need to set those little goals and just like the little wins. Like, you know, your first goal might be like, all right, I just want to get up and make my bed. Great, do it. And then, you know, build from there. But as for working out, just set those little goals. Like, all right, like I'm going to sign up and I'm going to join a gym.
Right.
Do it. All right. I'm gonna do my first class and I'm gonna work on X, Y, Z. You know, like just take those small steps. Don't think about what the end goal is. Just take it day by day, and you will be amazed when you look back months from that first day how much you have grown.
Yeah.
If you asked me 4 years back, or if you told me 4 years back where I would be now, I would say you are crazy. You know, but it's just those little tiny things, they add up. They really do.
Phenomenal advice. Very in alignment with turn up the heat too. So I like that, but I couldn't agree more. All right, we're gonna do something really fun, really quick. I haven't done this yet on the show, but I'm gonna start doing it as of today.
Love it.
We're gonna do a little quick rapid fire. And the first question for you is your favorite CrossFit move.
My favorite CrossFit move is handstand push-ups. Love it.
Handstand push-ups. That's kind of one of my favorites. I can't do them.
Love it.
But I
love
want
it.
to be able to do them. So you talk about, you know, doing that one thing. So what I do is I just do a handstand against the wall.
Yeah.
And then I start
and
doing
you just
and
build.
then one day I'll be able to do the
See,
push-ups.
I love them because everyone says I have T-Rex arms. Like they're so short. So it's just like
But they're
little.
very strong.
Little.
Awesome. All right. Your least favorite.
Oh, my least favorite is deadlifts for sure.
Really?
I can't stand them.
Is there any reason why?
You know, people always say like, oh, but you're so short, you shouldn't have to travel far. No, I still have a hard time with them.
Yeah.
I just, you know, it's probably just because I don't brace well, but like usually when I do them, or when it's so light deadlifts, I'm fine with. Heavy is where I just get very nervous of like, oh, like what if I do something to my back? Just because I have power for so long and I have deadlifted for so long, that's usually when I used to get hurt.
Okay. All right.
So I'm just
not a
the
favorite.
great, not
So
the biggest fan.
If you're ever around Dani, she's doing her deadlifts, maybe give her a little extra hurrah. Guilty pleasure?
Crumble cookie for sure.
We kind of already
Oh.
figured that out, right?
Obsessed, but I need to be better.
Are you allowed to have it?
Yes. Oh yeah.
How
Yeah.
often?
I have it once a week. I have a cookie a week. But I'm kind of in like the ice cream phase right now. So I've been having that in place of
Okay.
it. But it all goes by what their flavors are. Like some weeks their flavors are trash.
Oh,
In my mind.
really? Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Was that really a flavor?
Yeah.
Just kidding. Just kidding. So what is your favorite flavor?
My favorite is they have a Lucky Charms flavor,
Oh.
and it's so sweet. It is. Oh my gosh, it's so
I'm
good.
gonna have to research this a little. I love chocolate chip cookies, but I'm vegetarian technically. So, you know, but sometimes I'll make exceptions.
Yeah. Oh, their cookies are.
My
to
my
die
middle
for.
daughter, she loves crumble cookie. I've never been.
Oh,
I'm gonna
love
check
it.
it out. All right, and the best question: does this girl like hot sauce? Because we all know that Trisha loves hot sauce. I like the Carolina Reaper level of hot spicy. What about you, girl?
So I will tell you that I love hot sauce so much to the point where you have to drink milk when you're eating it.
Oh my gosh! Does the milk upset your stomach?
Nope, it feels so good.
Oh, it's good. Okay.
It's so good.
Right, regulatory milk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
all
Yeah.
right. So, hot sauce.
Love hot
Wow.
sauce. Hot sauce on everything.
Did you know that every guest on my show gets a free bottle of hot sauce?
Really?
From the Heatonist, which
No.
the Heatonist is part of Hot Ones, the show. And I'm a club member, so I get a monthly subscription. But so I go on and I hand select a bottle of hot sauce. So I try to see what might be the best pair with who my guest was. So you will be getting. I'm giving away a surprise. Yay! All right. Well, listen, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Dani, thank you for spending the time to share with us all of this. But I mean, I know a lot is competing for your attention out there. There's a lot of great shows and great information out there. So thank you for taking the time to watch Turn Up the Heat. We always like to leave with a call to action. And I'm going to say right now, I know that everyone out there, if you listen to this whole thing, you had some kind of epiphany, or you got some little nugget, or you thought of something that you can do now. The time is now. So what can you do that's that first step that Dani was talking about to propel you into the direction of what that big audacious goal might be? And that's what you can do to turn up the heat. Everyone, go live a life that you're thriving, not just surviving. See you next week.
Bye.
Be that silver lining to the story. If you thought that I would turn it one day, y'all don't know me. Made my fears rest in peace, cause that's a old me. Got this taste on my tongue, I crave the glory. Gasoline in my veins, be the fuel through my pain. Oh, as we rise from the flames. Heart of a lion, never say never. Cut like a diamond, shine under pressure. Oh, it's time to fire on up. Oh, it's time to fire on up. Pound on your chest like there's no tomorrow. Just play the game right, no one can follow. Oh, it's time to fire on up. Oh, it's time to fire on up. They say the struggle is real. I say the struggle